Hello guys, welcome back, and in this lesson we are going to talk about how to handle exceptions. So far we have seen how to add, general exception like this on your API. And for this lesson, I want to speak about specific exceptions or some of the most common exceptions that you'll get while working with APIs. So for example, now if I go to the HTTP client here and say maybe I access just a route that doesn't exist, for example, something of this, and then just run this. So if I run this, you'll see that it will throw a very interesting error here for route. And if I scroll up, this is for the route, and the exception is not a found HTTP exception. So the route, this could not be found. So what we can do is that to handle these route errors, we could simply add a method on the API.php and say, I'll say route, and then we need to call a fallback here. And in this fallback, you need to call a function. And for this function, now you can return the specific JSON message that you want. In our case, I'm just going to copy something like this. I'll go to the API, I'll paste this guy here, and then for the message, I'll say maybe route not found. And then the status should be for something of that. For example, something of that sort. This route was not found. Was not found. Yeah, whatever the message that you want. And now if we go back here, and so when I go back and and I try to run this, just try and run this, see, I get the same error, and that is because I believe that error or that method that I have should handle /API, not just will handle this error. But for now, let us try to add API and see. Yeah, so you see when someone goes API slash something and is not there on the API, it will return this error, this route was not found. So that is what we have on the API. So this will cover everything or every route and API which is not found. So to handle this general error where maybe someone goes in the wrong route like this, so if I run this still returns, a funny error here. So to handle this, I can just go inside the app exception, and inside here, I'll just scroll down here on the register method. You just change this to renderable, and then inside here, you can check if the exception that is being passed is an instance of. Our exception here is what? Let me confirm this. And so our exception here is an instance of not found HTTP. So I'll copy this. I'll go back here. I'll say that if the exception that we found is an instance of this guy, so I need to import this. Where is this? Need to import this. If it is an instance of this guy, and then maybe I need to return a JSON and say, we copy this. I'm too lazy to type. Go back here. I'll paste this guy here and say maybe that record was not found, something of that sort. And then, so that is the first error. So if we go back and run this, if I run this now, as you can see now, this handles the error and say record was not found. But the other thing is that, for example, if I go to API, I've gone to the correct route, which is users, all right? And of course, we know, for example, users /1, that is to get a single user, but now instead I say something like post. And then if I run this, you see this also throws another error, and the instance of this error is method not allowed. So I need to also to return clear message for this. So I can say maybe for this, I can say maybe the instance, if it is method not allowed, I can say maybe the error can be this method is not allowed. And I think for this we can use 4 or 5. Yeah, we can use probably 4 or 5. That is okay. And then let us run this again and see. Let us go back here. Let us try to run this again and see. As you can see now, this error is handled well. Say this this is the method is not allowed. This should be this method, not this is the method. This method like that is not allowed. For now, that is okay. Maybe I think there is another one which is bad method call, something of that sort. Let's see, there is bad method call exception here. This is, yeah, I can say method not allowed, and I can also return 4 or 5 for this. So if by any chance, the error bypasses these three guys that we have rendered here with this specific message and it comes to our controller here, it will be thrown and and be caught here. So for example, let me just use an example here so that you can see. So let us see, for example, here where I'm getting the user, I'm going just to assume that by any chance just the errors passed inside, and now say user, for example, find. So I'm just assuming that these users managed to bypass and now is inside the application. Remember, this user now does not exist, so an error will be thrown here. And if I go down here now, let's try and run this and see. So here I'll pass the correct user, but inside the method, of course, we have a wrong user, so it will throw an error. So if I run this, as you can see now, it returns now the error message, which is attempt to read property ID on null, which means that that is by any chance if the exception passes to this point. So I can just remove this. And if by any chance, you see, for example, if we could just have left this like this, if now let us just say we throw exception like this will be a mistake because this exception, the app won't know what exactly you're doing. So if I go here, I run this again, let's run this again and see. So you see there is an error, but there is no message, which is a mistake. So if I go back here, now I'll just undo and say the get message will work fine, and then I'll remove this. And so that is it, guys, for this lesson. I hope you have understood how to add your own custom exception in the handler method for the errors, and also how to track errors. You can be able, there are so many ways to play around with this, and maybe I can share resources and add some links there whereby you can check and find the best way that you see it fit. And with that, that brings us to the end of this lesson and this module.